So welcome everybody. This is Darlene Long calling in from Owen Sound, Ontario, and I'd like to welcome everybody to July. And I hope everybody had a great July 4th. I know that we had a great Canada Day here on July 1st. So let's get rolling with our call. We haven't had any questions and answers for a couple of weeks, but I'm hoping that we will have some time at the end of this call to do some questions and answers. But before we get started, let me introduce to you my co-host. And this gal, she and I met a couple of decades ago now. And when she came to Unicity, she was already a master herbalist. She already was in the nutrition business. And she is a natural, innate storyteller. And she loves to share the stories of people's lives that have been changed because of these products with Unicity. And even in her family, she's had some life-altering, life-changing results for even her grandson. And perhaps she'll get into that later tonight, maybe not. But what I was in Toronto last night, and I ended my portion of the call by saying Unicity is a company that matters, and we have products that matter and make a difference for people's lives. So this lady has been my co-host here for 9+ years. And we've become really good friends. Sometimes I know I talk a lot on these calls, and sometimes she doesn't hardly get a word in edgewise, but that's because I'm probably standing on my soapbox, banging on the drum kind of thing. And when I get off in a tangent, I rarely can stop, and I apologize, but she's a very integral part of what I do, and she focuses me and pushes me in directions and tells me what they need and what you need in the field and encourages me, and she is a great friend both to me and to you, the distributors in the field. I'd like to introduce Miss Burma Hicks.
Thank you, Darlene. That was sweet of you saying all of that. But, it is amazing. You're talking about 9 years. A lot of people just don't hang around even a year, and we've been here 9 years. That is amazing to think that we've been on the call just about every Wednesday night for 9 years. And But you know what?
We have.
I enjoy it every week. I mean, it's not a burden to me. I enjoy it because we do like to talk about our Unicity products. And Darlene, with all the work that you do on the Shop Talk notes and the information there, when anybody's needing some information about something, that's exactly where I send them to. If they don't have a computer, of course I will print it off and send it to them or get it to them some way, somehow. But anyway, I love the information that you're putting up and the pretty toppings that you put on it. It enhances the story. It makes you want to read the story with the pictures you're putting at the top. So thank you, Darlene, for all the work you do. And I know everybody else that's on this call appreciates everything that you're doing also. Thank you.
Well, thank you, Burma. And so I'm working. I want to weave a story tonight, and I know that you'll find this incredibly interesting. And I'm not weaving this story. I'm telling this story. And it's part of what the individuals that listen to Shop Talk Notes can look for in your product. So last week we talked about My Sweet 3. And you know that name, The Sweet 3, it truly is what they call sticky. Would you agree, Burma?
Definitely sticky. It is wonderful.
and it is, the one that I wrote about, the one that's part of the Sweet 3, and it says only in Canada. And people got so excited about that Sweet 3. And, it wasn't anything that I planned. It wasn't anything I was searching for as far as the name. It just kind of, you know how it is with me, when I get rolling, it just kind of pops out of my mouth, right?
Well, it was meant to be.
And so let me do a follow-up on Sweet 3. It was 2 weeks ago tonight, actually, that word was coined around the white oak. And Burma, you know that white oak has been one of my treasure products. And certainly you've reached out and used our white oak too. And you asked me to do BMNC for you, that you needed your Sweet 3 in the U.S., and we're going to talk about that. And it is going to say Unicity's BMNC, part of the Sweet 3 in the USA.
Okay. Do y'all know?
Okay. But let me follow up on this story. So 2 weeks ago, I started calling it the Sweet 3. I was doing a meeting in St. John's. It was a big meeting. It was a big hotel meeting. And I don't know, we had 50 people in the room, whatever. It was, going to be a great meeting. And we also had products that people could win because they came to the meeting. And one of the products that they won, that was to be won, was exactly the whole Sweet 3. That included the white oak, that included the bone fortify, and that included the joint mobility. So unbeknownst to me, a gentleman won the Sweet 3. I had no idea what was going on with him, none whatsoever. But as I talked about the Sweet 3, he became excited, and he actually won it. And you'll be interested to know, Burma, that this gentleman is actually a minister.
Wow.
So God blessed him that night. Because here's what had happened to this young man, and he is a young man. He might be in his 40s. He might be in his late 30s. He had been in a really bad car accident a couple of years ago. He had actually been T-boned. A car came in and T-boned him. And his wife, it was hurt very badly, and it took her a while to get on her feet. And he was hurt, at the time it appeared, not so much. And so a few weeks, I believe it was a few weeks after the accident, he was somewhere, and he actually sneezed. And when he sneezed, he had incredible pain in his body. And so he found his way to the hospital, and when they x-rayed him to see what was going on, because they did recognize that he had been in this accident, he had found, now wait, hold on for this, they had found that his ribs had separated from his spine. All of them.
Wow.
And because it was, way after the fact and they didn't get it, and I tend to think that maybe when he sneezed, he did the final dislodging. Do you understand what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. And so they took him into surgery. They didn't know what they could do for him because when the ribs separated from the spine, then most of the it has no blood supply, right? And so they didn't know if the ribs, if the bone would die, or if it would regenerate and cement itself. So it was quite a surgery, and they re-cemented the ribs back to where it belonged on the spine to see if it would grow, and then they inserted an internal brace. Can you imagine that, Burma?
Wow.
Okay? And he has been wearing that internal brace for 18 months. So, after the fusion surgery and the installation of this internal brace, he wound up, are you ready, taking 9 medications for pain, for anti-inflammatory, to stop him from to help him sleep, to relax him, all kinds of things. 9 different medications. Plus, he was on one antispasmodic. And so he won the Sweet 3 2 weeks ago. I had a call with him today, Burma. And in less than 2 weeks, he is off all 9 medications.
Wow.
All 9. He's sleeping. He has some discomfort, some stiffness. The doctor said it was from the medications, okay, for such a long term. But so he has some discomfort, but nothing that our products isn't handling. Now here's the clincher. Can you help me here? How many white oak and how often? If I'd known that was what was going on, how many white oak would I have told him to take, and how often would I have told him to take it in a day?
Well, probably you would have told him to take 4 3 times a day, or maybe 4 times a day.
I would have told him to take 6 3 times a day. At least maybe 4 times a day. And I would have told him to take double the dose of the joint mobility. And I would have told him to take double the dose of the Bone Fortify. He did none of that. He took 6 white oak a day. He took 2 joint mobility. And he took 1 scoop of Bone Fortify.
Wow.
And that's the results that he got.
Wow.
And so after he was speaking to me today to understand if we could do anything about the spasms, and I explained to him it could be that the spasms are indicative of what we call a healing crisis. As his body heals, it's responding. I said, and the antispasmodics were important to make sure that the ribs stayed secure. I said, how fast does the antispasmodic work? And he said, in 8 minutes. And I said, well, you've lost 9 medications. And you are scheduled for the surgery to remove the internal brace the end of September. You come this far, you got to keep the spasmodics.
Yep.
Just 1 drug. And it's on, he doesn't use it unless he has a spasm. So it's an at-will drug. I said what I would do would be I'd put some Bone Fortify in 1 liter of water and drink that all day. I said, have you noticed that you've had less spasms? He said, absolutely. But I worry about, what to do should he have one. And so I told him to keep the antispasmodics with him and use that. We're talking about a few weeks. And he's come so far in 18 months. Does that make sense, Burma?
It sure does. Yes.
And talk about a celebration. That combining those 3 products, the magical Sweet 3, the results he got just by following what was on the label.
Yes, and you need to encourage him to send that story to stories@Unicity.
Already asked permission to use it.
Okay. Awesome.
Okay. So now let's take you to your product.
Okay.
Your BMNC. Now we recognize that Boswellia extract is part of the joint mobility, but in the BMNC, the Boswellia that's there is the whole herb. So they're going to be getting the buffers from it, correct?
Right.
And so I still have to do all of my research on Boswellia, but what I'm finding out is also you have in your BMC, you don't have the white oak, you have yucca instead, all right? And but you do have the black walnut, you do have the queen of the meadow, which is, meadow sweet for pain. You have marshmallow, and you have mullein in there. So you have more in your BMC than we actually have in our White Oak Plus. So let's talk about what extra is in that BMC. The first product is yucca, okay? And yucca is also one of those whole herbs. You're going to get the buffers in it so that you're not going to have, your body just accepts it easy, and so it's not going to cause you any harm. It's not harmful. But, the yucca is really high in vitamin C. It improves your immune system. It also will help you build your white blood cells for your immunity. Those are the cells that go around and eat all the foreign invaders, okay? It has also wound healing, and we know this, so you can pop in here with your stories, okay? Just hold on here. It has wound healing benefits. It's interesting that yucca contains resveratrol. I never knew that. Did you?
No, I did not know that.
Okay, so it contains resveratrol and saponins, and they are present in high doses in the yucca root, and it has high anti-inflammatory and analgesic, so it's pain relief too. And so it's really good for inflammation issues, including arthritis. It also improves your cognitive function. Did you know that yucca was a brain food?
No.
No, we didn't, okay? So what it does is actually stimulates the blood flow to the brain. And so when you have more blood flow, you have more oxygen, you have more cognitive ability, okay? And it can be important in part of keeping us sharp in our old age. It's also good, it's got folic acid in it, and it's good for your skin and for your eye health. And folic acid is something that people are really deficient in. It's part of what they actually require, women in childbearing years. Folic acid needs to be there so that we, prevent neural tube disease. And which is really high in areas that don't have a lot of folic acid. One of those areas being Newfoundland in Canada, okay? They also have photoprotective properties, and so that makes it really important for not only for your eyes, but for protecting the skin against damage for the sun, as well as the resveratrol actually strengthens your skin and your skin density, and it increases its resistance to degradation from, the sun that's damaged. And we all know, and especially you in the South, know what kind of damage the sun can do for your skin. And some of those damages could potentially lead to skin cancer, right?
Right.
Also, yucca. This is why I've always liked yucca. Yucca is an anti-inflammatory that has a benefit for people who suffer from gout, okay? It is popular for people that have an acute gout attack, but it also is really good as a preventative to take every single day to prevent gout attacks. And I have a partner who has taken this product, BMC, and I'm going to tell you he's probably been taking it for, I would say, I'm going to say 99 or 2000 Burma. So that's a lot of years, 17 or 18, successfully, and got off the medication that they typically give people who suffer from gout, okay? And so then we also have in this blend is skullcap. And it is also anti-inflammatory. How did I open the call last week? I talked about anti-inflammatory. But skullcap is also, when I was doing this, I was thinking about this gentleman that I was talking about who was taking an antispasmodic drug. He's also, skullcap has this antispasmodic effect in the body. It's slightly an astringent. It's good for the nerves. It's a sedative. It's a strong tonic for the body. And it has a lot of what they call bitter iridoids and tannins in it. So that's part of the astringents, right?
Right.
It's common to use skullcap for relief from nervous or anxiety. Women, it is really good for women that have hormonal imbalances and react like that because it's very calming for them, okay? And Devil's Claw, well, everybody knows that Devil's Claw is good for arthritis, correct?
Right.
But Devil's Claw is also really good for people with gout. And it can actually act as a digestive aid and for people to digest their food. And for people that lose their hunger, people do lose hunger, right? I don't know who they are, but it doesn't look like there's many floating around anymore. But there are people that need to stimulate their hunger, especially if they're not in a not well situation, okay, that their body is out of homeostasis and they're needing to stimulate their appetite. We had a story last night about an older gentleman that had surgery that just couldn't eat and then had no appetite, right? So he, Lean Complete became his savior. However, sometimes that appetite stimulation needs to go on. It's been studied for low back pain. It's been studied for muscle pain, and it has been studied for osteoarthritis. So Devil's Claw is commonly accepted for rheumatoid arthritis, gout, muscle pain, and other degenerative disorders that are associated with the muscular system. So it is without question an incredible product that you and I know that you love and we've talked about many times, but it's never had this deep of an in-depth look. I've never done that in-depth look, not only to what's in it. Everybody can read the label. And we look at the label and say, oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's good. Oh, yeah, that's good. That's good. But did we ever really look at what all of this stuff does?
Nope.
And the answer is no.
No.
So, Burma, I want you to talk about your part of your Sweet 3.
All righty. Well, this is one of the things that the BMNC, if somebody comes in with arthritic pain, tendonitis in their elbows, knee pain, shoulder pain, all of that kind of stuff, I reach for the BMNC Plus because of everything that you've just went through, even more depth than what I knew, okay? That's the reason I can't wait to get your research. But anyway, usually what I tell people to start off with 5 in the morning and 5 at night. And it's according to what they tell me with their pain. If they're really, really in bad pain, I say you might want to go up to 5 per meal. And it is such a reasonable priced product that honestly people can afford to do 5 per meal if they're in that kind of pain, okay? So there's one guy that had tendonitis in his elbow. He's a meat cutter, And he said that within 2 weeks of just doing 5 a day, which it tells you on the bottle do 6, but he only did 5 a day, and he said that his tendonitis in his elbow was gone. So, a lot of times it's just according to the body and how much they need of the product, like a gentleman that you said. He just went by directions, and look where he came to, know. But, of course, you and I know that if they're in a lot of pain, we want them to do enough to get the results so that they can come back down to the maintenance.
Yeah, and we're looking for them to have an experience. That's what we're looking for.
And to help in a hurry, because these people that do come in, they're in pain.
Well, I think, pain is, pain of the knees, pain of the ankles, pain of the hips. That's one of the most common complaints today as people age.
Yes. I have a lady that's in the building next to me, and she was going to have knee surgery. And so she came over there and said until her knee surgery, she would like to have something. So, of course, I told her about the BMNC. And she had only been on it 2 or 3 days, doing 5 in the morning and 5 at night. And I wasn't there, but she come back over and told the girls that stuff works. And, it's amazing if you see the results, then you're not disappointed in herbs. But if you don't see the results, you think the herbs don't work. So I guess that's the reason we up the dose just a little bit so that people do get results and they know that herbs can help with their problem.
And so the Boswellia in there is anti-inflammatory. That's true. And usually what happens is, and I don't know if this name is familiar to the listeners, but usually when you use a NSAID or an anti-inflammatory, they work on the what we call the COX enzyme, and they become a COX enzyme inhibitor. That's why you see some, like Tylenol is a COX-2 inhibitor. Okay. What was that drug that began with V that they ripped off the market? That people were literally dying from because it was a very powerful COX-2 inhibitor. It was a number of years ago, and but Boswellia doesn't work as a COX-2 inhibitor. So when you look at Tylenol and many of these other ones, they all work on that enzyme. Boswellia works on a different enzyme. It works on what we call the LOX enzyme, or lipogenase enzyme, and it's an inhibitor there, and that's what makes it even more powerful anti-inflammatory, but it also allows it to help intestinal disorders and lung-related diseases. And so people that are coming in and complaining about their lungs and such, they can use this BMNC because of that Boswellia in there to help them get control of what's going on in their tissues, in their lungs, okay? And so that's the shift with the Boswellia. When you look at the meadowsweet, the queen of the meadow, and the fact that it came from, the acylic acid. The acylic acid is a COX-2 inhibitor. So when you're looking at BMNC, you're going after both enzymes. Does that make sense?
Oh, yes.
That create the inflammation. So it becomes a choice now for people that are listening, whether they want the BMNC or whether they want the white oak. But we used the white oak because of how it works on the vascular system with varicose veins and hemorrhoids and stuff like that. You're not going to get that with the BMNC, and you know that.
Right.
Right? That's primarily why you ordered the BMNC. Not the BMNC, the white oak.
Yeah, the white oak to help with, the vascular part, yes.
Yeah, the vascular part. So that's the difference.
Yes.
Now, Canadians can get BMNC on an NFR. And when I look at the pair of them, you know what? I might use them both.
Uh-huh. Yeah, because you're getting different things in, like the yucca and the boswellia that you're not getting in the white oak.
Mm-hmm. But as it applies to the Sweet 3, Burma, it is, inflammation, I talked about 62% of the people in New Brunswick are reported to have inflammation in their body and one chronic inflammatory disease, at least, okay, or autoimmune disease. And so you still can use the BMNC in the same way as we use our White Oak Plus. And you're going to get some additional benefits that you don't get with the White Oak, but you're still going to get that anti-inflammatory response. So when you mix it with the joint mobility and with the Bone Fortify and your BMNC, you have your Sweet 3.
Yes. But you said we couldn't call it Sweet 3 in the U.S.
Oh, well, I was just being snotty.
Well, I'm going to call it Sweet 3 then.
Okay. And so now let's open it up in case somebody has some questions, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Okay, so is anybody there that has a question for Burma and I? Sounds like somebody's getting ready. Do we have a question?
It's Gail. I don't have a question. I have a comment. I go back to the early days with Enrich when we had the individual Yucca Plus product as well as the White Oak Plus, and they were used together for anti-inflammatory and pain relief with arthritis and any kind of muscle discomfort because of the anti-inflammatories and the pain, which, you have discussed tonight. Well, then when the Yucca Plus was taken away from us, we screamed, and then it was pointed out that the Yucca was available in the BMNC product, which we could also get with the White Oak, so I've been using it all along.
Okay.
And now adding the Bone Fortify and the joint mobility, so I'm just swimming.
There you go. Thank you. So there you are, Burma. We're creative.
They are.
Anybody else have a question? Comment? Testimonial?
Carol. Can I ask a question? This is Carol.
Yes, you sure can, Carol.
Carol, listen, do we still have MyoCap? And if we do, can we benefit with adding that with all these others as well?
Yeah, absolutely, because MyoCap is a recovery supplement after exercise or exertion.
And
okay?
we still have it, yes.
We still have it, and it's filled with vitamins and minerals and such. It's not so anti-inflammatory, Carol.
Mm-hmm.
It's a builder. Okay, so when you exert, you're the biker, right?
Yes, biker and swimmer.
Okay, so when you go, you're the one that does that deadly bike marathon, right?
Yes, getting ready to do it in about 3 weeks.
Okay. Yeah, nuts. But when you get off that bike, the minute you get off that bike, you should be, if it was me, I would be, well, of course you're low-ozing it the whole way.
Oh, yes.
But I would be dropping in some vitamin C. I would be dropping in, without question, the Bone Fortify because of the anti-inflammatory, because that's what happens. And then I would be dropping in the MyoCap, so that the MyoCap sends out the free radical scavengers that go on in your body as you rip your body apart on that bike across that Highway 10, and in the heat, it just goes to work right away. And I would personally probably take MyoCap the minute I got off the bike, and I would take it every hour, probably for 3 or 4 hours after.
Okay, and it's still listed in the
Absolutely.
the sports line, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay. Haven't had it in a while. I need to load up on it.
Pardon me, Burma?
Oh, I didn't say nothing.
Oh, okay. Yeah, ladies and gentlemen, this is Carol, and she does an extreme, do you want to talk about it? It's a bike marathon, right?
Well, it's almost like a bike marathon. It's very high energetic endurance. Your endurance has to be that of a person running a marathon, and it is in the heat, and there's no shade, and you got heels, and it's just one of those little sport things that you work on and just get yourself to where you can do it. But it's fun. It's a goal that I have. But actually, it's a little bit more brutal than running a marathon. It's close.
Yeah, because you don't have impact.
Exactly, and it's about you can do two distances. You can do a 56-mile or 100 miles.
Wow.
Okay, and which one are you doing?
Well, I'm going to try for the 100, but I know we can do the 56. We may have to stop between there. I don't know. We're just going to try and see where we can go.
Okay. I remember a number of years ago that I helped you decide how you were going to prepare the morning for that bike ride.
Mm-hmm.
And how did you end that race that time?
Finished in, I think they had about 300 riders. I finished in the top 50. And it was the shorter distance. It was the 56. And that was not when I was in really, really good shape. I was having a lot of hip problems. But I did it, and I did not have any problems getting off that bike and walking around.
Okay, so Carol, do you mind sharing with everybody how old you are?
I'm 59 years old.
So ladies, and what kind of impact do you believe that these products have had on your ability to stay fit, compete, and also experience what I would call extreme biking, because it's like 100 degrees down there for that race?
Yeah, the heat index will be over 100, I'm sure, that day. But before I did all this biking, I did a lot of marathons. I have ran 24 marathons. And I ran my last marathon about 3 years ago, and I basically just retired from that and just focused on just biking and swimming and doing some other things. I just got tired of all that jarring and running on the road, so I just picked up the bike and started using it and to get my exercise in. But I had a lot of benefited use from using Unicity products, especially when I was running the marathons, because that's a lot harder because you are burning so much. When you're on a bike, you got wind cooling you off. When you're running, unless you're super fast running, your core temperature shoots up so dramatically when you're running. It is so easy to go through heat exhaustion. As a matter of fact, when I ran all the marathons that I ran in the past, I always took Low-Oz with me. I would not drink the Gatorade on the water stations. Now, I would drink water in between my Low-Oz, but I have shared that Low-Oz with so many people, and I do remember one girl that the ambulance was picking up, getting ready to take to the hospital. She refused to go, and the Low-Oz, it saved her life. And to this day, when she sees me, she keeps telling me, "You saved my life that day." I never forget how pale she was. She was dry. She was not sweating, and on the ground, could not get up. And I just told her just to sip on the Loaz. 15 minutes, she was up, walking around normal.
Wow, what a testimonial.
And it's not just our sports products that we have, the products you guys were talking about, or the Loaz or anything in that line. I've benefited a lot from using the Cardio Essentials and the Cardio Basics. Those were two key products that I definitely needed with my cardiac output and to protect my heart with all that endurance training.
Mm-hmm. And will you do me a favor and promise to take the Cardio Essentials before you go on your bike trip this year?
Okay. I do. Every morning. I take three again at night before I go to bed.
Okay.
I'm religious on that because we
well, pack in 6 before you jump on that bike.
Okay, I sure will. I'll get my husband to do it too.
Okay. All right. So is there any other questions? Thank you, Carol. That was a great testimonial and great stories. Thank you.
Sure.
Hi, Darlene
Anybody
and Burma. It's Joanne in Mississauga. I have one, it's a general question, if that's okay.
Absolutely.
So parasites create quite a bit of inflammation, right, in the system?
Correct.
My question is, how do we know if, and I know Burma has said many times she, if I recall correctly, is always on the Paraway.
Mm-hmm.
How do we know if we've had enough?
Well,
I know it's not so easy to answer that one, but
okay.
just listening to this amazing information, it just got me thinking.
Right. Well, a lot of times the complaints that you have, like growling of the stomach or pain in the navel or just different things of that sort, that would, and more especially in the intestinal tract, that would tell you that you need to, if you're not doing enough or doing it often enough, you might need to do it, at least, I do it every day, but at least 3 months. And a lot of people would do it just 1 month and think they've gotten rid of everything, but that's not true.
Oh,
it would
definitely.
take at least 3 months. And then if you're still drinking water, eating food, and all of that, and around pets, you're collecting them again. So, that's the reason I do it every day, because I eat a lot of vegetables here. And when you do, I try my best to clean it good, but it don't mean that I can clean it perfect.
Do you think they build up a tolerance at all, or no?
Well, I have heard and read that the body can actually, if they made it into a ball inside your system, that would mean that your body was accepting it as another per se, and it wouldn't be, but another organ, but it's not an organ.
No.
It's not. But it's your body's kind of accepting it as that. And so that's the reason it's so important to, in my opinion, to cleanse. And cleanse. I have a friend that does colonics here at the house. And anyway, she actually forgot to order her Paraway Plus. And so instead of coming to the shop and getting her some, she just decided she'd wait till the next month. And it was amazing in 1 month's time that she got in pain in her intestinal tract. And when I tested her, it was parasites in there, and she'd only been without it a month.
30 days. Wow. Okay.
And what building a resistance to the Paraway, really what Paraway does is makes your body an inhospitable host. It changes the environment in your body so parasites don't like to be there. Well, Paraway does not kill anything. And that's one thing that we don't want them to do a die inside of us, because that's more toxins and waste as they decompose. So when you are using it for, as directed for the 3-month cycle, what you've done is made your body a really inhospitable, and parasites are sick-like, and they go through 3 stages of life, and so this is only inhospitable to what you would call the adult parasite, and they're the ones that are forced to leave. And as the new brood, so to speak, comes on, it's already inhospitable, so they tend not to breed and lay more eggs and the such, right? Most of the parasites that come into our body are not adults. They come in as amoebas. They come in as eggs on our foods and stuff. So we can inhale them. They're everywhere. So what happens is they think that the Paraway is out there killing all the parasites, and it's not. It's making your body an inhospitable host, so none stay as they go through their cycles of life. Now, Burma does not take 5 a day every day. She takes 2 or 3.
2 or 3, and then about
I should feel like you're exposed.
Do what, darling?
Unless you feel like you're exposed, like you went to Thailand, right? You ate all that strange food.
Yes, yes.
And then you would start up your amount to 5.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, that makes perfect sense.
So the people that have pets, Joanne, should stay on 2 a day every day themselves.
I would imagine that would be very good practice for sure.
And you can give Paraway to your pets.
Absolutely.
That I did not know.
Yeah, all of my girls have pets. They have Shih Tzu puppies, and now Terry's got a Labradoodle, and she gives each one of them 1 Paraway every day because they are house pets.
And they don't spit it out.
No, they
You just wrap it up in a piece of bread or whatever.
Or open it up and put it in their food, mix it in their food.
Okay, that's a really great idea.
And let me tell you a story on that. We had a girl in our business many years ago. She had 2 poodles, and they were her babies. And so anyway, she actually was carrying them to the vet, and she was getting them their medicine, shots, or whatever you get for a pet at a veterinarian. And so she felt really secure that her pets had no parasites. And so when we got the Paraway Plus, I told her, I said, start giving those puppies at least 1 Paraway every day. Guess what? In between those times, those puppies were actually passing parasites that she could not believe that they had, simply for the reason she was keeping them at the vet when they should be going there.
Oh.
So just because you carry your pet to the vet don't mean that they're not getting them in between times. And she actually witnessed that. That's the reason my girls give their dogs 1 every day.
Well, that's a great idea. That one I didn't know, so thank you both very, very much. Thank you.
And people will spend more on their pets than they'll ever spend on themselves.
Absolutely. I have a veterinarian beside me there at the shop, and I promise there's more people bringing their pets to the veterinarian than they are coming to my shop for themselves.
Wow.
So there we go. So, Burma, long call tonight.
It is. I didn't even realize we'd went that long till I
Yes.
o'clock. Okay.
So we'll say goodnight,
Okay.
and we will say same time, same place, next week, same number, and I will get this BMNC posted for you tomorrow. You know I always like to do nice artwork and things like that, so be patient. It might not be there at 8 a.m.
Okay. I'm not going to expect it at 8.
Okay.
I'll get it when it gets there, okay?
But it'll be up there tomorrow for you.
Okay.
And then, for the other person that's listening that asked me for SIG, I will do SIG next, okay?
Awesome.
Alrighty, I'll let you go.
Okay, good night.
Good night.